Welcome back, continuing the news. Local authorities are now exploring a second method to test for COVID-19. The method, known as antibody testing, involves drawing a tiny sample of blood. We have more from Dwayne Anderson.
Suspected COVID-19 carriers and their contacts are among the persons usually tested by local health workers under the state's automatic testing protocol. But with the reopening of the country inevitable, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton warns that the state's approach will have to change to reach more people.
But we do appreciate that as a society, there are economic and other consequences to those restrictions, as necessary as they are. And so as the government moves to the next phase, in learning from the experience, in overcoming the immediacy of the challenges, we're going to also have to move to a phase where testing becomes more expansive, where we move to additional technologies to look at antibody testing so that we can function in a normal way while at the same time ring-fencing the most vulnerable populations and applying the appropriate treatment that is necessary.
Antibody tests are also known as serological testing. This test relies on a blood sample, usually obtained through a simple finger prick with a needle. Antibody tests can identify those persons who were infected and how they recovered. But perhaps just as important is that they will likely reduce the need for the more uncomfortable type of testing, the molecular test or swab test. This involves inserting a 6-inch long swab into the back of the nasal passage through one nostril and rotating the swab several times for 15 seconds. This process is then repeated through the other nostril. It can be painful and has therefore struck fear into many persons. Now, the second issue with broader testing locally is discrimination. Some persons are afraid a positive COVID-19 result may lead to them being treated like outcasts by many other Jamaicans, and so they may stay away.
Collecting the samples remains a challenge, and it is something that we're going to have to work on. In other words, we have the capacity to test perhaps 3 times the samples that we're now testing on a daily basis. And it is not about the testing capacity, particularly with this addition. It's going to be now about how we ensure that we get more Jamaicans to come forward and be tested.
Jamaica has bolstered its ability to test with investments at the National Public Health Lab. The facility will complement tests at the National Influenza Center. Close to 3,500 tests have been done to date.
We have a rigid testing protocol that we have applied. We think that testing protocol has been able to give us a good reflection of the spread of COVID-19 in the population. And with this addition to testing, we believe we will have absolutely no difficulty, certainly as it relates to the protocol, in testing all the samples that we collect.
Dwayne Anderson, TVJ News.